Hello, welcome to my presentation. It is a reflection of learning of the semester. First, we're going to go ahead and start about this. We're going to be exploring school policies and practices that are vital to fostering a more inclusive learning environment. I'm going to be emphasizing the significance of addressing the needs of racially and ethnically diverse students. We're going to be talking about diverse responsive criteria and as well as different assessment practices that I've been using within my own school and a little bit of more of what I've been learning throughout the semester. And then we'll definitely be talking about just creating a more inclusive environment for students that will help out our English learners in their process of life and in the education realm. All right, learning of racially and ethnically diverse students. One of the things that I've always believed in and I've learned a lot about at UF was just the difference between equity and equality. It is so important that we have this fundamental aspect in our society, in our schools. It should be our model to not make things equal, but to make sure that there is equity for all of our students, especially when it comes into education, as well as fitting the needs of every single diverse student. It is so hard to kind of go into a new school and I have no foundation, don't know anyone, and it's really hard for these students to kind of make that connection. However, if students are coming into a place where they see a bunch of different flags, they see that language is celebrated, they can go ahead and feel that within our classrooms, within the moment that they enter our schools. And that is why it's so important to have those cultural aspects and different types of perspective within the schools. Here we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about that, about how we can improve school policies and practices to kind of create, again, that more equitable, more inclusive, and make sure that it's effective. Although a lot of schools do kind of have the same model, sometimes it's not as effective as it should be. When we talk about cultural competence, we're talking about the different policies and practices that teachers can be learning about. Throughout the summer, I went to a couple PDs this summer, professional development, and I was able to make connections with other teachers that were from different places, and they got to show me a little bit more. Reducing the achievement gap is something that is very important between obviously ELL students and general students that are in the classroom. It could be so hard for this population to kind of just relate. They're catching up most of the time. And that's really what the achievement gap is. They're catching up in everything that they need to. And in order to narrow down those gaps, we need to make sure that every student has the same opportunity. Community engagement is something that I strongly believe in. I am very involved with my community. I go to the public libraries. I kind of share all that information so that parents know, not only to just host events. Right, as of right now, I'm living in Miami, and we have a big Hispanic cultural parade in our city, in our school, and just celebrating all the different diverse communities. When we're talking about assessment, this is one of the most crucial components in education. All right, we're talking about traditional assessments, formative assessments, and just making it a little bit more culturally responsive. All right, when it comes to formative assessments, we all think about just an exam at the end of a chapter, and this is very hard for students who don't understand the grasp of the knowledge of the language of the content, and they're going to be struggling, especially when they're timed. You're timing students to be able to read at a certain pace, and that can be very hard for them. I truly believe in culturally responsive assessments, which not only means that there will be fair, but it'll be equity assessments that are fitting the needs of every teacher, fitting the needs of every student to ensure that students are, again, gaining that experience and in gaining all of these things that they will need to be into doing an assessment. These are some strategies for assessment improvement. I'll talk about a few and then we can go ahead and read from there. I just remembered I forgot to add that, but I'll talk about it a little bit more about diversifying assessment methods and just kind of making it directing to the students. We are making sure that formative assessment practices, that we are doing little things. Like I do an exit ticket instead of calling it a quiz. And then it'll just, again, bring that more awareness to just the teaching strategies that students need. Again, tailoring instruction is something that I do. I will add sentence starters for my ELL students if it's a if it's like a written response. Again, just those little accommodations that will be helping out these students or is going to help them succeed in anything that they do. Applying learning for English learners. Individual assessment plans are essential to ELL students succeeding in the classroom. Whether it's oral exams, which is something that I do, I normally read the story out to them just because orally kids can be more ahead rather than like written. So if they're writing something, it could be a little bit harder for them rather than communicating verbally. Again, having that sensitivity, just kind of recognizing where students are from, tailoring exams and assessments to kind of make sure that they're culturally sensitive and to make sure that they're culturally inclusive as well. Language support, I provide a dictionary for my students. I give them extra time. I will sit with them if they don't understand a word. And again, these are all the things that are going to help a student be more better into performing in these assessments. These are one of the most important things. And this is a clear diversity response to helping students out. All right, recapping everything. Let's reaffirm our commitment to educational excellence and equity. As teachers, we are the foundation of the educational system, and it is our job to make sure that students are coming into a safe environment where they can learn and about everything. We can make an inclusive and safe space for our diverse students who might not have that anywhere else. They might think that they are one in a million and they don't have that. So we've got to make sure that we build that in our schools, in our teachers, and our students, and empower all students for being different. All right, diversity is something that I truly preach on. Again, growing up in Miami is a very diverse city, and I've learned so much from it. But the moment that I stepped out, I was able to really recognize how beautiful it is to empower your differences and just kind of prepare them for the rest of the world. So yeah, that is my presentation. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Melissa Ramos, and it's been a pleasure to be in your class. Thank you.